I think a lot of people are unsatisfied. They're yearning for something more.
You might be sitting there thinking Western society is in a bit of a mess and late-stage capitalism has a lot to answer for. What you might not have done is moved to central Italy and started a commune.
Metropolitan life is not for children. This is for children.
This is Honeydew.
When I'm out here, it's a healing process for me. It's a reconnection for me.
Self-styled as the community of the future.
It's not looking for something else, it's looking for something in me.
I'm visiting to find out if, as a response to current crises, the world is finally waking up to communal living. Buongiorno, nice to meet you. Hi, who's this?
This is Dion.
Dion, hi.
Dion learnt to walk at Honeydew
Wow.
last autumn.
Gosh, maybe it'll work for me as
October,
well.
November, his mother-
In 2022, Benjamin Ramm sold his London flat and bought this unoccupied hotel in Maiolo in the rural Romagnan hills.
So Honeydew is a network of eco-communities, of which this is the first. The focus with our community is collective resilience. As things become more difficult, ecologically, but also socially and economically, as invariably they will do, it's very important for us to have a positive alternative, to have a place where people can go, not out of fear, but out of desire to construct an alternative future.
Are you off-grid here?
We are transitioning to off-grid. We're moving away from gas. We have 147 solar panels. This is some wood from trees that had fallen. We're planting in relation to the quality of land. One of our big projects for the coming year is to collect rainwater. The chickens came only about a month ago. The pizzeria and the pool came first. We have plans here for a sauna. We have a new yoga hall. This is making a virtue of a kind of water basin that we want to cover up.
You wouldn't even notice it.
You wouldn't even
because it's
notice,
so
exactly.
surrounded by positive energy.
Yeah. I can tell you're joking initially about the energy, and then by the end of by day 4, you'll be,
Oh really? I'll be kind of, I won't be making such faux pas.
But there's something about this openness. It nourishes you, brings out the best.
Great.
I do watering, getting everything done, and then weeding. I do a lot of weeding. So my spiritual practice, when my hands are in the ground, it's really like feeling the parts of me that are in everything and connecting to that.
You've experience of other communities. What is special about Honeydew?
If you go to places like Portugal, there'll be lots of people like me at a certain demographic and age group, which is fine, and it's its own thing. Here, there's no specific type of person. There's individuals coming together at different stages in their life. And for me, I think that's very special.
Honeydew aims to establish a network of communities in the region, and with 2 further communities already taking their first steps in Brazil, it's a model that Benjamin hopes will continue to expand globally. Is it a conscious decision not to have a clock up anywhere? Residents are required to work for just 4 hours a day, with a 5th hour dedicated to creativity and development.
Today, you guys will be learning Portuguese through dance. So loosen your hips, because it's the hips that will take you to where you want to go. Yes! That's really good.
One of the ways in which the community generates revenue is we have wellness retreats, and we can give people a taste of community life. That's also one of the other things that people are keen to kind of nibble at, because they're very interested in the idea, but they're not sure whether it can work for them, because the mainstream has said, focus on the individual self, to live collectively is to live in a cult.
You mentioned the C word, but you know, this is a community kind of sort of isolated in some ways geographically. It's got a charismatic leader.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
I mean, is it a cult?
No.
How would you know?
What an absurd.
How would we know?
Firstly, the gate is open, both literally and figuratively. Yeah. The other thing is that this was never conceived as a standalone community in the hills of central Italy. Because one consequence of 50 years of globalization is that the alienation that people feel in Sao Paulo is now very similar to the alienation that they feel in Milan. Here people can be vulnerable, they can share, they can express themselves, and at the same time, they can help the collective organism grow.
There are currently over 30 residents here, some staying for just a couple of weeks, others hoping to make this a more permanent home, but all searching for shared connection.
Cacao is one of the most powerful plant medicines there is. You're going to grab it, you're going to hold it on your heart, and I want you to infuse each cup that you receive with your intention. So by the time we all have our cups and we're ready to drink, we're collectively connecting to the intention of every single person with the power of our heart.
Uno, due, tre.
Oh, that's good.
Due to the sheer variety of visitors, arrivals and departures are a regular occurrence, something it can be hard for longer-term residents to get used to.
It's like breathing. Community is like a living organism. The respiration is that welcoming and that departing.
I don't like it. It's the hardest part for me. You get so intensely close to someone and then they leave and you don't know when you're going to see them again because they come from different parts of the world. I get very uncomfortable.
You get very close in the period that we share together, and then we learn a kind of resilience from that, and we learn to treasure the moments that we do have.
What I find quite interesting is you have as much democratic setup as possible, but there still needs to be leadership, and there needs to be sort of someone calling the shots a little bit.
I think it's more that there are different people with expertise in different areas. This is a very creative space, but people feel that they can be more creative and expressive if they understand that there is some structure to guide them.
But ultimately, you're in charge.
I'm not in charge.
If stuff happens...
Our chickens have escaped.
Great. Shall we capture them? This
Sahar,
way.
The chickens are out.
Are you in charge? This way.
The key is the rooster to direct...
You think?
Yeah. Well, this is a metaphor for...
So this is you.
Oh.
He's even wearing the same clothes, Benjamin.
Exactly. There we go. Now we'll see what happens.
Nothing.
If you would have told me a year ago that I would have been living here, I would have told you were insane.
Because you were working in advertising, you were taking the capitalist dollar.
Yeah.
So what changed?
I feel like I lived a very individualist life in the States. It was all about me, me, me. I feel so much more myself here. I feel so much more embodied. I feel much more present here.
Your day job back in London?
I'm a software engineer.
Yeah. Do you think you might do this longer term, maybe? Or?
I'm still in the middle. Maybe a mixture of both.
Yeah.
I think we all need a chance to get close to nature.
Thank you very much.
Those boots are very slippery.
Cool. How long have you been keeping bees?
We started more or less a month ago. The diseases is a very concerning part because they all suffer from a parasite called varroa mite.
Is there a parasite that the honeydew community needs to look out for?
You get people that are not a good fit from time to time. Fortunately, a lot of them, they don't feel good anyways, and so they leave.
They understand that it's not the right place for them.
Yeah.
A key component of the honeydew ethos is its intergenerational approach, which aims to secure the long-term future of the project. They are developing a forest school, offering alternative early learning methods to families inside and outside the gates.
It's not so easy for people with children to find an environment like this. My daughter is really happy here.
Would you worry about anything that your children might be missing out on from conventional society?
Actually, not at all.
Not at all!
Where I grew up in the kibbutz, that was the most beautiful place. And actually, as soon as we got here, Ha'el He can step out of the house and just go. He feels okay with everybody around.
Things are changing in Italy. The old life is getting too stressful. Economic power of families in Italy is not working right now. So we need to find a solution, and I think we are close to it here.
To mark the first birthday of the project, Honeydew is hosting an event for the local bread festival, the cultural highlight of the Maiolo calendar.
It's important not to repeat one of the big mistakes of previous communities, which is creating a cocoon. There's a really rich history of this region, and so engaging with that and also being respectful. Many of us have come from the city. We're now trying to develop the skills that have been, nurtured in this environment for a long time.
I wonder if you guys feel you've found what you're looking for.
But I'm looking for many things. I know that I've found connection and friendship.
We're so deeply connected and we can so easily trust and love, really love these people that I've met for a week.
All in all, we can just say that we're looking for an alternative, and this definitely is an alternative.
And we definitely found happiness.
We can no longer deal with despair because that is the currency that is eating away at us. That's the currency of fear. Here we're building an alternative in which people can find meaning together. They nourish each other and they nourish the ecosystem in the process.
I've had a lovely few days here at Honeydew, but I suspect, having been open just a year, it's still very much in its honeymoon period. And the big question is, as it expands, as more demands are put on it, as more and more people get involved in the Honeydew project, staying true to its founding principles gets harder and harder. And quite how Benjamin and other leaders manage to navigate that path will ultimately decide how sustainable this really is. If I were to come back in 2, 3, 5 years' time, who amongst you would be here to welcome me in through the gates?
It's not here, it's in another connected honeydew system.
Yeah,
for
right.
sure.
You'd like to maybe set up your own honeydew, but it would be a honeydew?
Yeah, potentially, I think it's...
Maybe Australia honeydew. But this will be a cult. So.
Oh, yeah.